Hey, David.
Hello, and thank you for pressing the button that means that you want to listen to an episode of Sips Across the Sea. This
Yes.
this is our rum edition. It was originally for International Rum Day, but
Right.
thankfully it is, I think, the 16th of August will be National Rum Day. So it's in time for National Rum
Hey.
Day instead. So
In
sit
whatever
back,
nation you're in.
whichever nation, sit back and enjoy.
Hey. There you go. All right.
And this is an honorable episode for World Rum Day, which is very exciting.
Yep, we discussed before about the various world days, well, briefly, and as we're in July now, they
Yes.
do include World Mojito Day on the 11th, World
Mm-hmm.
Rum Day is the 12th, Pina Colada Day is on the 10th, so you got 3 days on a row there,
Right.
and then the 19th is Daiquiri Day, so it's a busy old. If you like rum and
Yeah.
and you observe the days. you got a busy old time. Great if you've got a brand that is really good in one of those drinks, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But today we're mostly just talking about rum, aren't we? In
Yeah.
general, in the
Yeah.
general sense. So
Yeah. In general, I try
um,
to be observant when it
yeah,
comes
or
to
at
rum.
least celebrate privately, just a nod. Um, and we're recording on the 4th of July, so
Hey, happy birthday.
happy. There you go. Right. So, rum.
Yeah.
Can you remember your first rum?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a really good question. I mean, I am sure that my first rum was probably Bacardi, though I
Yep.
don't remember it. I can say that the first rum that I remember having and really enjoying was Appleton. And so some friends of mine and I, we went to Mexico City for our vacation. It was like during the summer break during college. We went to this bar, cafe kind of place. A friend of mine wanted to get a rum and coke. And so he asked the waiter if he had a suggestion. And the waiter was like, "You should try it with Appleton. It's very good." I'm like, "Okay, we'll have a round."
There you
And
go.
so we had that. And it was like, "Oh yeah, this is very good." Between the Appleton and the quote unquote Mexican Coke out of the bottle. After that, once we got home, I bought myself a bottle of Appleton. I think at the time it was called Special. Yeah, it was great. So that was my first love when it came to rum.
Good, accessible choice. The rum and cola,
Yeah,
the rum and cola, as it
yeah.
is in the songs. Pulp, common people. I'll have a rum and Coca-Cola. She said, fine. And in 30 seconds time, she said, I want to live like common people. So there we go. And I think there's also some Robbie Williams song where he has the lyric, I hope you choke on your Bacardi and Coke.
That's not kind.
For legal reasons, we hope that no one chokes on their Bacardi and Coke or
Yeah,
other rum
exactly.
drinks. Um,
Exactly.
so one of the things I think we did notice when we were planning this episode, yes, there is at least some organisation that goes on beforehand, is actually the disparity of what rum is available where you are.
Yeah.
Particularly if you don't have access to these sort of Master of Malt or Whiskey Exchange, etc. So the
Yeah.
one that we're going to taste and share is Husser's Gunpowder Proof. That's the one that we could both get our hands on.
Gunpowder.
We did talk about some other ones. Talked about Smith and Cross, which is another great favourite of mine.
Yeah.
There are, of course, some great rums made in the US and made in the UK, and we've got people like Two Drifters and Portsmouth Distillery down our way. Maybe I thought maybe we'll bring you some samples when I see you in Texas, and then
Oh
when it's
yeah.
Trafalgar
Very nice.
Day, some British stuff. Maybe I could bring some
Excellent.
American rum back with me, and then we're all rocking and rolling. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
for a lot of British people, certainly for those that had their early youth at the first half of this century, probably it was the Bacardi Breezer, the Alcopop. That was probably our first foray into rum, which I can't quite remember now, but I think like at the time, what was being sold as Bacardi Breezers in the US, it might have been one of these. I might be wrong. It might have been one of these malt beverages. So it wasn't a rum based at all. It was a
right,
bit like Smirnoff Ice was at one
right.
time. It gets confusing, and it depends on where you are. But Bacardi does seem to be a lot of people's early foray into rum.
So,
Yeah, and I think it works. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's
yeah,
it's a very versatile rum, and there's different variations in that. So good on 'em. Pluses, the white ensign that's on there, that's the flag, and very much sort of connected with the navy stuff. This is a rum post rather than a navy post, so we won't go too far down the rabbit hole of myth and legend. Is there? But it's a hefty 54.5, which is generally
yes,
considered the navy strength for rum, as opposed to the 57%, which is the navy strength for gin. These were known, particularly for me and a number of other people, there's these big porcelain decanters that they came in. So a
Ooh.
lot of passes were sold. So they were ship's decanters and usually sold for like celebratory reasons, and they have quite sort of ornate artwork. So ship's decanter looks a bit like an old school playing piece from Cluedo, or Clue if you're in the US, where you kind of have that very narrow neck and then a very, very wide base. It has a lower center of gravity. So the theory being, if you're somewhere that's unstable, like on a ship, it's not going to knock over. So it will slide, but it won't fall over like a bottle would. You get miniature versions as well. I don't know. But this is a 50 ml miniature version, and they have illustrations of Nelson and Britannia. There's also there was like a yacht's decanter version, which is a slightly different shape. There's flasks and there's mugs and things like that. My granddad was a great collector of them, so I've inherited a few of them. Not that they've got any rum in them anymore. I think a friend had the rum because he didn't really care for it, so he just liked the decanter, but someone else drank the rum.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that Glencairn makes a like crystal version of that really flared out.
Yeah, you can get different crystal versions and that. This was just essentially something promotional that was done, and that the rum was sold. And a bit like those, a bit like the whiskey figurines and stuff like that, that they had at one time.
But is that design really historical to like the Navy, the British Navy, like officers kept in their quarters or something?
I think the ship's decanter, that is, I think that is true. Although I think probably it would have been more likely to be wine than spirits. That would have been in there, because you wouldn't necessarily be serving. So typically at a meal or something, you wouldn't be serving the rum from a decanter. That if it was kept somewhere, and like some brandies and things, sometimes they might have been kept in more of a sort of tantalus, so like a box that the decanter would sit in, and that would be the thing that would keep it from knocking around. But it was a different style of drinking. But this is more, the decanter is something for wine and port. That you would have as a shared. So that's why you need to be able to pass the decanter around without it spilling. So that's kind of, and there's a whole, again, for another time, there's a whole load of history involved with that, and the customs and all that kind of thing. But the style is a historical one because of just for practicality. It's a bit like if you on some airlines and on some trains like Eurostar, at least it used to on Eurostar, they would have glasses that would be a lower center of gravity, so they would be a lot flatter or something like that, so that they were harder to knock over because of essentially the same thing, because of turbulence. I find quite fascinating. And anyway, let's have a little taste of this. So this is neat. It is 54.5. This is from Guyana.
Now,
minimum of 3 years.
this just might be my memory, but quote unquote British Navy rum was like a blend originally, right? Of different rums from Guyana and Barbados and somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, the history of the Navy rum is still something that I'm looking at and researching, and other people have done research as well, and so that kind of I need to kind of cross reference that. But what the British sailors had was a spirits ration, and that could be
Right.
a range of many different things potentially, depending on depends where you're going. Like if you're out in the Caribbean, rum makes a lot of sense. If you're in other places, but there are also places making rum and and blending rum in the UK. So there's a place out at Deptford, in London, so very big naval place. Also, huge place in Bristol from very very early on distilling molasses, which might upset some people about the history of rum, but that's still to be seen, I think.
Rum people never get upset.
Anyway, um, but there's the strength thing that we spoke very briefly about, and then there's
Yeah.
also kind of the style, and it is
Yeah.
kind of this thick brown sugar,
Mm-hmm.
slightly tarry, slightly treacly, very slightly
Yep.
bitter kind of style of rum, which is the style that you would get from Lambs is another well-known one in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Hussars, Woods, Smith and Cross. I mean, that's a Jamaican pot still, but I feel like that still kind of sits in that realm. To me anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, that's probably why I really like it. Skipper, Lost Spirits in Las Vegas, I think. Or they do, or they at least did a
Yeah.
like a dark navy kind
Yes.
of style rum.
Yes. Yeah. So this was one of the first examples of like a Guyana made rum that I ever had, and this kind of like introduction to the naval style. And I really like that treacle character that it has. It's got this intrinsic sort of sweetness to it, but it's slightly bitter at the same time. So it's
Yep.
got this kind of balance between the two. Um, there's a lot of like dried fruit, like plum and raisin kind
Yeah,
of
if you are a
aromas.
fan of the sort of Christmas cake and those sort of fruit cakes and
Mm-hmm.
things like that, then you're gonna
Yeah.
quite like this because there's the richness, the spice, the fruitiness.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Those like really more like sweet olorosos or Pedro Jimenez
yeah.
sherries that in that vein. But yeah, to me, really fun. It's just you can tell it's not it's not been aged long. It's got
Mm,
a bit of youth to it, but that flavor intensity is like really strong, which I
yeah.
like. I like a lot of flavor. So
It was a. It's something that sometimes you see it in a pub in the UK, and if I see it, it's probably something that I'd often go for. Um, there was, there is a pub. My old hometown of Hythe in the New Forest, and we used to go to a pub called the Lord Nelson, and that's what we would
mm-hmm.
often drink. Would be a double of Woods on ice. And we had it on ice because
Right.
otherwise it'd be silly. That's what we often had. And I remember one time we were there. I think I was with my friend Stuart, who was in the he was at sea. He was in the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, and he was back, and we were meeting up for a drink. And I'd ordered a cheese sandwich, and it took an hour and a half
I
to get this cheese sandwich. Yeah,
hope it was worth it.
it was a good cheese sandwich, and by that
Oh,
time, after we had a couple of these, it was welcome. I've just adjusted my drink here,
yeah.
um, inspired by a previous conversation that we had on the pink gin.
Oh,
So I've added some bitters and I've added some water just to kind of see what I think. It's not really to my taste, to be honest.
yeah.
I think
Too bad.
the clove, the woodiness of the Angostura,
Oh,
um, just upsets the balance. So I think I'll just
Too
have to
much.
add a little bit more rum, and hopefully that'll balance it out a little bit. But
Yeah. I'm going to try with a little squeeze of lime here. Got some limes cut. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's a juicy lime. I'll stir with my finger.
I think some other very good naval in the style of naval rums that I've had more recently is our friends over on the Isle of Wight with their
Oh.
HMS Victory.
Right.
So they buy in the rum, they do a blend, but they finish off some maturation there. And then Portsmouth Distillery's new dark rum is kind of in that realm as well. So both aged products, but they've got a deeper, richer, kind of thicker characteristic, which I think does lend itself really well to a lot of different drinks. I mean, that is nice to drink it on its own, but you've got to bear in mind the ABVs of some of these things.
Right.
But it does have some good mixing potential.
As intense as the rum, to me, as intense as it is neat. Add a little bit of water, some ice, a little squeeze of lime. It's very nice. It, all that intense sweetness that it has really kind of dissipates.
Yep.
And you're just left with this nice kind of base rum and really easy, nice little drink.
I think it's a very good rum for, as you discussed before, your rum and coke. But of course, you've got to be very careful because it makes it very drinkable and it's a very strong drink. So I've got my little glass here, my tumbler, which has a
pebbled ice.
Has a little. It is pebbled ice. Yeah, I went for the crushed. Used my ice crusher. That's what the glass looks like. It's got this little clipper.
Oh yeah.
Clip on it. Little set. It's actually the decanter is what I keep my house blend of rum in. That's which is, as you can imagine, very much shifted towards the navy style. So to my tumbler full of crushed ice, I'm going to add some rum. I mean, the thing is, when you put the when you've got a crushed ice, it really fills the glass up very quickly when you're pouring in a rum. And I've got, as you can see here, this nice sort of slightly looks a bit like Long Island iced tea kind of fade going from the bottom to the top. So to that, I will add a little squeeze of lime here.
Mm-hmm.
My lime's a bit old. It's been hot here, and they've not been in the fridge. So I noticed they might be not as great as they might once have been. Have you ever noticed this? When limes get a bit old, they're still usable. They get more vanilla-y. You ever noticed that? Sure, there must be a reason for it.
I don't know that I've ever noticed them being more vanilla.
Yeah.
But they do lose some intensity in the acidity. Yeah.
So, I mean, the vanilla thing might work well for this.
Yeah.
For this.
I just added a couple of leaves of mint to my glass. And you don't really taste it, but you get that little burst of aromatics when you drink it. It makes it's really nice. I felt inspired by the mojito day.
Well, of course.
Coming
and then I've just added to that a splash, probably about half as much rum. So if I added 50 ml of rum, it's about 25 ml of your cola of choice, whichever that might be. And that's kind of my sort of take on the rum and coke, or a take on it. It's got lime in it, so it's a little bit like a Cuba Libre, but I think with a Cuba Libre you would have a lot more coke in it.
Right. It's a much taller drink.
And then just for the added chicness, a nice
Ooh la la
red cocktail cherry, bright red. There's a little bit, I guess, in some ways, it's a sort of rum sour in some respects, but I'm using the coke for the sweetness, or it's in that sort of realm. It's nice, 7 little glass, but again, just be careful because you could finish the bottle very easily.
So with Woods, was that at like the 54% range, or was it?
No, Woods is at 57. So some
all right.
people go down this 54.5 route, and some people go for the 57. So Yeah, there's a couple of others, and then there's some that go beyond that. So there is a Pusses that is stronger than 54.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a 151.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Fuerte.
that's proper. That's 75.5 for those that work
Yeah.
in ABV. Oh, another one that I kind of feel like is in this family, at least for me, and I also really like is Gosling's.
Oh,
Gosling's
yeah.
rum,
Yeah, yeah.
which also I think they do a 151 as well. It's a proper punchy one. So it does vary the ABVs. So you got 54.5 for the Pussers. The dark rum from Portsmouth is 54.5, but then you've got 57% from Smith and Cross, and also from Isle of Wight with their HMS Victory. So it's
Yeah.
personal preference, really.
Yeah.
What you fancy going for?
So, other than the sort of Navy style that you kind of gravitate towards for your decanter,
Hmm.
what other types of rum do you generally enjoy?
I'm quite a fan of the highest agricole stuff,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
particularly if I've had a little trip over to France, because there must be some program in place that's subsidising this rum because it's particularly cheap.
Oh, yeah.
If you get it from France, I mean, I quite like that. I would say when it comes to the drinks, I am. I don't know. I've never been grabbed by a mojito. It just doesn't.
Yeah. So, generally not, partly because I feel like, in my experience, when I've ordered mojitos, they, like many um, mint juleps, they just like pulverize the mint.
Mm,
And so then it's just like it becomes too unpleasant to drink.
yeah.
But in anticipation of this, I made a mojito for Tia and I last night. I think they came out very well. I used a fairly kind of plain's the wrong word, but lightly flavored rum. It
Yeah.
was the El Dorado 3 year.
Yeah.
So it's Guyana, but it's filtered and it's mostly, I think, column still rum. So it's light. It's been aged for 3 years, but it's clear because of the filtration. So it's fairly light rum, which is, I think, really what you want when it comes to things like a mojito or a pina colada, because really
Yeah.
the mint, or in the case of the pina colada, the coconut and the pineapple are the real stars of the drink. Too much rum kind of gets in the way. Whereas with, like, say, a daiquiri, I love a pot still rum for
Yeah.
a daiquiri. Like I have this pot still rum from New Orleans,
Yeah.
Roulaison.
Oh,
I
lovely.
like this in a daiquiri is fantastic. I love it. Or if I have a Jamaican pot still from Appleton or somewhere else, like those in a daiquiri, I love. Um, Even an agricole like what is it? The JM. There's like a 57% or
Yeah.
50, there's a high proof version. It's they're unaged rum, but it's like high proof. I can't remember the exact. That is delicious in a daiquiri for my money. So, but for the mojito and the pina colada, a light rum is perfectly fine. That's all you really need.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the uh, mint julep. People mash the mint up, and then you get little bits, and it's all
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
spit out bits of
yeah,
mint. It's horrible.
exactly.
Different cocktails speak to different people in different ways, and it's
Hmm.
only like when you start thinking about it. Because again, I felt like I've had some lovely daiquiris. There was a very nice one with the Stiggins Fancy, so it was like a sort of pineapple cardamom daiquiri. Place we went to in
Hmm.
Baltimore a
Yeah.
couple of times, very nice. But beyond that, I think like if I wanted a drink like that, I would probably have a margarita.
Right.
Part of it might be like preference, style of drinking, and things like that. I think I could see myself. I mean, I would appreciate one daiquiri, but I can't. I don't think have an evening on the daiquiris, if that makes sense. Whereas I could possibly see an evening on the margaritas. And you bring in the blender, and then we're definitely away.
Oh yeah. Well, just as a preview for today, we're going to a 4th of July party, and we're bringing the blender. We're going to
There's
be
booze in
making
the
up.
blender.
Yeah. So, I have, as you know, I have this book on tequila that I'm working on. So I have a bunch of tequila that I'm just like, throw it in the blender with some ice and some triple sec, and it's going to taste fine. It'll be
Yeah, that's
perfectly
it. Yeah,
good.
I mean that's.
Frozen
I
margarita.
think like that's part of the whole point of having mixed drinks and having cocktails is sometimes the booze that you've got doesn't taste great on its own.
Right.
It's nice to have the luxury of having everything taste brilliant, and then you can really make some
Right.
exceptional things. But at other times when something might not be so great, how can we still make it enjoyable and palatable to drink? And I think that's why you get these things with a lot of citrus in them and a lot of and the sweetness as well is coming in
Right.
there. And yeah, pina colada is a different thing. Big fan of a pina colada, but too much of a hassle to make, to my mind. So I buy the pre-mixed ones. Which is no good
Okay.
for American listeners, but I really like the ones from Marks and Spencer. So often found at train stations, get yourself a can of the pina colada from Marks and Spencer's, and if you're feeling
I'll have
really
to look for that.
fancy, pour it out into a cocktail coupe or champagne coupe,
Uh-huh.
and then just a little splash of your sparkling wine of choice to the top. Make it a champagne colada. There's your. That's next level. That's elevated.
That's a train drink right there.
That
That's
is
fancy.
And it has been a train drink many a time.
Yeah, I'll have to try that when I come over. I mean, I have adopted the pina colada recipe from this YouTube channel called How to Drink. This guy, he's not really a bartender, but he created this channel. He makes cocktails.
Yep.
Really fun to watch. Anyway, I have adopted his pina colada recipe, and it works perfectly well. But it is a bit of a hassle because the coconut cream stuff that you
Yep.
have to use is so sticky. So like measuring the right proportions is always a bit of a hassle because you got to like squeeze it into the like measuring cup first and then use your finger to like get it all out because it doesn't want to just come undone. Though I do have to say one tip that I saw recently was basically if you measure your pineapple juice in advance and then pour in like squeeze in the coconut cream into the pineapple juice to the right volume,
All right,
then it'll flow out much more easily.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So anyway, I have done that once and it did work. So I have to kind of adopt that as a kind of.
I think my biggest issue with it is
step.
that there are these additional ingredients of pineapple juice and the coconut cream or whatever it is that you happen to be using.
Yeah.
And I'm not using them for anything else.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to use up the whole portion of whatever is the thing. Sometimes you can get mini cartons of pineapple juice, which is at least something, but like I'm not using it up, and so there's a lot of wastage I tend to find with a pina colada. Whereas when I just have the can, I can just crack the can open and kind of just do it that way.
That's fair.
So for me, that's the balance. It's partly the wastage as well as it being fiddly. I mean, it's okay. It's not that complicated a drink to make, but it's have I got the ingredients in? Are they still in date? And all this kind of stuff. Whereas if I just have the can, I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, we have boys who love virgin pina coladas, so it's easy to kind of work through the dose, the jar or can of pineapple juice that we buy, because they're perfectly happy to have a couple of virgin pina coladas on their own. for us, like pina coladas are a little bit of a kind of we're having people over. I crack open a can. It's like a pint sized can of
Yeah.
pineapple chunks that goes into the blender with the ice and the coconut cream and the rum and so that's part of it. So because otherwise you're right. If you're just making one, like you have all this stuff you've just opened that you're not
What you can do with
using.
it.
So
What's the what is a pina colada if you make it with tequila?
that's an excellent question.
What
Pina
does it taste like?
pina.
Pina pina. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be the obvious choice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question because the thing is like with my pina coladas, I always veer towards light rums that don't have a lot of intrinsic flavor on their own. Um, so
Yep. Pop in a
yeah,
Cristalino.
yeah. Add a little bit
How
of
bougie!
vanilla
What a
sweetness.
bougie pina colada that would be in all the clubs in Miami by the end of the week.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the beauties of tequila is that it's very like flexible, right? You can use it in a Negroni, you can use it in an old fashioned, you can use it in a pina colada.
Yeah,
It
but
works in all.
I never have.
Yeah. I'll have
So
to try that.
yeah, next time
Yeah.
you can report back. Lovely. Well, on that note, I
Yeah.
think that's a good place to end. We've got other stuff coming up in the month, haven't we? Because I know it's Tequila Day at the end of the month, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Tequila Day is coming.
And National Scotch Day for some nation. I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
Is it
Not
Scotland?
for Scotland. Oh.
It's Lithuania's National Scotch Day. Well, until then, thank you very much, Eric, and we'll see you again. And please subscribe. Please subscribe to the podcast.
Yes, please do. All right.
Bye bye.
Cheers, David. Bye-bye.